I'm repeating the question of that.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everyone. You know, when they set up a room here, I was thinking, okay, yeah, this would be a nice, quaint type situation. We'd be sitting in this little room, and I didn't realize we were going to have the Taj Mahal here. So, can anybody hear me all right? All right, great. So, we want to get started, and this topic is going to be about Walton County, which I'm from. Let me get started this way. My name is Henry Martin. I'm the CIO from Walton County, and there's going to be other people up here. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves in a second, and we're going to go ahead and share with you about the experience that what I went through and this product that we actually are starting to use right now. So before we do anything else, Gary, you want to go ahead and get started?
Hello, everybody, and thanks for making your way here. I know it's kind of confusing too, so to get to these particular sessions, I appreciate you being here. My name is Gary Bonacorsi. I'm Tanium's Chief Technology Officer, and we'll be sharing a little bit about what that is a little bit later, but thank you for being here.
Ted. Sure. So my name is Tim Sanders. I'm a Tanium sales engineer, and I help Walton do a lot of their stuff on their network that we're going to talk about, and we'll be here most of the conference, so swing by and say hello.
All right. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and get him in a second. Let's see here.
Is it on? Yeah, it's on. It should work.
Yeah, let me see here.
There you go.
Okay. Whoops. Okay, here's the kind of some things to just want you to kind of think about as we get started. And we're going to go back over this a little bit later as far as different things in your environment, just kind of food for thought, a few ideas, you know, how many devices do you have in your environment? What is your patch efficacy and different things like that. And we're going to talk about some of these items a little bit more in detail, but just kind of give you a little insight on a few of the things that we're going to be discussing as we start this. So what I wanted to talk to you about is how I got here and why I decided to look into this. But before I do that, the person that actually got me started and offered this POC to me was Jim. And so I asked Jim to come up here and introduce himself. And he's with the Florida Technology Council, and we both are. And so I want him to share a little bit about that and kind of what that is and how that process took place. Thanks, Jim.
I like it when they introduce me as Jim Taylor instead of James Taylor, because then I can avoid all the Carly Simon questions and will you sing? The Florida Tech Council is a bit of a unique group. A lot of folks don't start hearing what's happening in technology and then looking to see in 2014 to actually represent one of our state agencies, to be able to speak on why we need a tech association or a tech organization for the state of Florida. And working with and keeping that agency alive brought us an awful lot of national notoriety, national recognition, and expanded us where now we don't only just help that one particular agency, but we help state agencies, we help municipalities, we work with private and public sector together as an advisory organization. So members of the Tech Council on my board, I have MT sits on our board, college presidents sit on our board. So we're not an organization that sells, we're an organization that provides education and guidance. And strangely enough, we don't charge for that either. Folks become members of that organization because they want to make a difference within the state. And our whole reason for existing is to make a stronger, safer, better, more efficient state. So that was one of the ways that I actually met Henry, was through one of the meetings that was happening. We started speaking. I realized that we need Henry sitting on our CIO council to represent the state of Florida for education, because we were not having solid representation there. And our conversation just continued to grow and grow and grow. And we saw areas where we could help more and more. And one of those is that challenge that our municipalities, our school districts, our schools, even our state agencies have, is we know we have a need, but in order to solve that need, I usually have to talk to a salesperson. And that's a real challenge because quite often salespeople want to sell you their product, not necessarily address the need. So we could act as that intermediary for the vendor community and then private sector or others in the public sector that can show you, well, that's not always the case. Here's a group that you need to talk with or work with to find out what are your needs truly. And that's where Attainium was such a great fit for your district and several of the districts. But again, to do that, quite often we find, well, let's do that as a pilot project. So we can go into a district, show them, here's what you really need. Here's the answers the questions that you have to answer first before you can take those next steps. And that's one of the things that I'm excited to have you show today on what Attainium was able to do. And again, we do that without a cost to our district, without a cost to our state. So it puts us in a great seat. People don't mind calling you so much when you're not going to charge them anything and you're going to help them. So it's been phenomenal to work with your district and with you. I'm sorry to hear you're retiring, and I've been sorry for 6 months when I first heard. But I know we'll continue to be able to work together. And Attainium, I can't thank you enough. You guys have been remarkable with the way you've stepped up and held true to your word that we want to help in these areas. It's not about cost. It's not about charging. It's about making that difference. And that's what we do. So if we can help you, I should be here for all 3 days. Unless I do something, they throw me out. I don't know. but please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to work with you all as well. Thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Jim. So as Jim mentioned, initially what had happened, Jim called me up and said, hey, there's this company called Walton, and we'd really like to see what their product is and how it works. And would you be interested in a proof of concept? And I said, sure. So anything with security or something like that, related around like that, I'm always interested. I'm always looking for a new technology, a new process, something that's going to enhance my environment. So started working with Attainium. And so we started discussing different things, what we're going to do. And they said, well, the first thing we want to do is let's just look at your system and see what it looks like. And I said, okay, that's fair enough. So we actually ran a test and actually looked at what we were doing as far as patching. And so when the results came back that we were about 70% compliant. And I'm thinking, well, that's not good. I'm like, so what are we going to do here? I said, so what we started to do is go through and say, okay, here are the deficiencies that we have in our system. So we were looking at patching where areas that we haven't had patches for several years. And these were some Windows patches, and we're like critical patches. And so we're like, wow, okay, we definitely have a problem here. How are we going to solve this problem? So they said, okay, well, let's do this. We're going to do another proof of concept. We're going to run Attainium on a patch Tuesday, and we're going to run my current platform, which is SCCM. We're going to run them both, and let's see what happens. So we ran that test, and then the results came back, and these were Microsoft patches. The results came back that Attainium actually went out and did 75% compared to the 25% of Microsoft. And I thought, well, that's kind of unusual because these are Microsoft patches. And so I thought, okay, that's interesting that Attainium actually went out and actually did this patching ahead of Microsoft and Microsoft's product. So then we started looking at it. And so my next question was, okay, we have, 30% of devices not being patched. I said, what's the next step here? He goes, well, here's the logic behind Attainium, which is dynamic. Attainium has an AI interface where you actually ask it questions. You type in questions and you ask it to find you things. So they initially said, so let's go out and find out all the machines that haven't been patched. You ask for the computer name, the IP address, many things that you can ask for. And so then we were able to find all these machines. I'm like, okay, that's great. So now I know what machines have failed and are not taking patches. The next thing that we're able to do is like, okay, we can actually go in deeper and find out what the next step is going to be. And how we can do that is to find out what the actual problem is with the machine. So some of the things that we found out when we first started, we had machines that were functioning properly, but not taking update. So they're not broken, they're working, but they're not getting updates. And the thing is, you ask the question and it actually comes back and it will tell you what the problem is. For example, we had machines that the hard drives were filling up and they would not take another patch. They would not take another version of anything, but they were still operating. So that was a problem. We have machines out there that have been doing that for a long time. So, this started, okay, so I'm kind of liking the idea that now that I can find out what machines I have, what's working and what's not working. And so at this point, we're able to go and analyze even deeper the different things that were going on with these machines. And then we can set up other strategies, actually going back and moving forward with this patching. And I'm not going to get any real detail. I'm going to let Gary go into a lot more detail on this, exactly how it works. But what we eventually did, and I'll show you on this graph. If you can see this graph over here at the beginning, where the efficacy of it is and where we started out. And then if you look at the green area, sorry, I can't even read this here. The legend at the bottom, I'm sorry, I can't read exactly what that says, but I'm sorry.
Patch Tuesday.
So on Patch Tuesday, you can see where the patching took place. You can see where we were in the red at one time, which was non-compliant. And then as we started moving forward, the compliance started going up. That's what was in the green. So we were really excited about this because this, like I say, we were still in the proof of concept. Tanium was still working with us, showing us all the different things it can do in our environment. So you look at the bottom interface also, you see where that arrow is, that's where we started looking at the patches and looking at our environment. And you can see how far out of compliance we were. And, as a CIO, I wasn't really impressed because, I'm trying to make sure that security is up to date, but patching, and in all honesty, is one of those things that, yes, it's running and yeah, it's working, but, it's one of these afterthoughts almost because I have so many other projects like you. We're doing so many other things during the day that it's running. So we're hoping that everything is working right. So when I saw this and I saw that the patching was where it was, I was just it's like, wow, this is, I'm not really happy with my environment and doing this. So what we did, he goes, let's go and let's start running it and let's see what we can do and find out. So as you can see that graph and the days on there, when we first started running Tanium, look at how many machines were patched. And those machines haven't been patched in a long time, some of them in years. And all we did was run Tanium, okay? And just run the same patches, but with Tanium. And the results came back and they were starting to get fixed. And that was just amazing to me because, for so long, we've been running this and we just, me personally, I have to take the blame for this. I just thought it was working and realized that we were that inefficient in our patching and our compliance. So the really in-depth thing that I started learning on this is that even though we had machines that failed, we would then go into it and they say, okay, let me find all these machines that failed. And it would bring me a list of machines that failed. And then we go into it deeper and could find out why they failed. And that was, to me, is just, the light went off. It was like, now what I can do, I can actually go out, have work orders made, and the techs can go out and fix these machines because we found out where they were at, what school they were at. And now I can even bring my compliance into a much better area than even the numbers you're seeing here. So that was extremely exciting to me because now I can not only see the problem, and now I know I can go out and fix the problem. So that was just amazing to me. Another, yeah, that's the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, something we found out by accident. So we're doing the proof of concept, and one day Michael, my network administrator, he came up to me and said, we're having a problem on our firewall. There's 84 machines that are running a DLL that the firewall is notifying us that there's a problem out there that shouldn't be running this DLL. So I said, let's try something. Let's go into Tanium. Ask Tanium what machines are running this DLL. And within, I don't know, a minute or two, these machines came back. We found out what the computer name was. We found, I don't know, was it the IP address? There were multiple things that we actually asked for. It came back to us. At that point, Michael went out and pushed a specific EDR solution to these machines. And within a couple hours of not leaving, we had all these machines patched throughout the entire county, and Michael did it from his desk. And with Tanium, and Tanium wasn't there. We figured this out by ourselves. And we were able to go ahead and patch these machines. And then at that point forward, none of these machines ran that DLL anymore. And to me, that was just amazing because we did this, we fixed it, and we were brand new in the POC process, but we were able to just go and ask questions, type in, and just ask those questions, and we solved the problem. So, I mean, that to me, when Michael and I looked at that, we're like, wow, this product, this is really great. This is doing something we were never able to do before. And one of the other great things about this is, as most of you here, you have small staff. You wear many hats. And what we needed to do, what I always try to strive to do, is get an application or a process in place that's going to make me more efficient, because I don't have somebody dedicated to do a lot of these things. Most of my staff do 4 or 5 things. So I needed something that was going to make this thing run automatically and working in the background. And like I say, when Gary comes up, he's going to go into more detail on exactly how this product is going to work and the many other things that it can do, even besides what I'm just telling you right now. So as you can see over here, we did some reporting, and you can see that where we started at in the very beginning in the top graph, the failure rate, and then you can see how many machines now are in compliance. And so that is just amazing compared to where we were. And now we're able to go back and fix everything. As you can see right now, out of the 10,000 machines that I have 100 that are still having issues compared to several thousand previously. So we're excited about this. We're excited that now we can feel comfortable about patching machines and making sure that we're going to be in compliance, and that we're going to be able to take care of our environment, protect our environment, because we all know the cyber attack that's out there, it's real and it affects everyone. So we have to be proactive to be able to make sure that we can protect our environment the best way possible. We have to do our due diligence. So this next slide shows all the applications. If you can look at, not all the applications, but the top applications here that we found that were installed. And what's really interesting about this is that within an environment our size, which we have 17 schools and just all kinds of educational applications. But one of the things that really bothers me and worries me a lot of times are applications that sit out there that are causing issues, that are being updated. And for example, Adobe, we found 17 versions of Adobe in our environment, which we didn't need. So again, the neat thing that we can do now is we can go out and, like, say, for example, we need 3 versions of Adobe because of the different classes that are teaching on Adobe. We actually can update those 3 automatically, and then we can uninstall all the rest and do the same thing with Java, Flash, and other things that are out there like that. So you can go through and customize your environment to be able to make sure that you are updating what needs to be updated, and then uninstalling things that don't need to be there, and clutter up machines, clutter up your computers. So that that in itself was dynamic because now we have full control of what we want to patch, the apps and the updates we want to do. And that's something that, we really didn't have control of it before because, we image machines and we put them out there and then going back, it's like, okay, did we update Adobe? Did we do this? Did we do that? Keeping all the browsers updated. So it just is good. We didn't have the ability to do before. So I'm going to ask Gary to come up here next to be able to speak a little bit more in depth, probably a lot more in depth about Tanium and the different functionality that it has.
Thanks, Henry. So thank you, everybody, and appreciate it. And one of the things that's really interesting about this story, this is not unique. We see this with almost every customer we go into. And really what the root cause of the issue is not just patching. It's not just multiple third-party applications. It's lack of visibility. So when you think about it, if you can't see it, you can't control it, you can't manage it, you can't protect it. So one of the things that Tanium does very uniquely is that we provide, it's unparalleled visibility across your entire enterprise. So like Henry specific, across 17 schools. Unparalleled visibility at such high level and fidelity. And we do it on a single platform with no infrastructure and one small agent. What that does is it helps you fix the problems of having a bunch of different point solutions that have gaps. The one thing Henry didn't mention, he did mention a little bit, but what makes Tanium very unique is that we combine in a single platform unified endpoint management with things like asset inventory, patch management, third-party application patching, together with basically a unified security management platform. So we can do things like compliance. We can do things like threat remediation, threat response. So all those capabilities run on a single pane of glass. And what makes that really unique is that we don't work on cache data. We do live queries. We have a very light agent. To Henry's point, we ask simple questions. You don't have to have a programmer do this. You can just have to write it. We'll self-correct it. It's called a natural language engine, basically in our search bar. It's almost like a Google search. And anything you want to know about your enterprise, whether it be a piece of software, whether you have a vulnerability that just got released to 0 day, we can ask that question across your entire environment and return that back to you in a matter of seconds, not days, not weeks, not months. So when you think about it, it's really not just a evolutionary way of thinking about enterprise endpoint management. It's really a revolutionary way to do it. Part of it's our architecture. I'm not going to go into that for you, but this is a cloud-based offering, Tanium as a service. Again, no infrastructure on your part, but yet you get that high fidelity and visibility. What does it give you besides just, I can see what I see. What we find when we go on to an environment, and you didn't mention this, but we oftentimes and we do it so if you're using VPN to provide your learning environment, we don't need that. So we